Well, all right, everybody. Welcome back. Today we're doing Beginner's Guide to Formula 1 Part 2. That's right. It's going to be fun, this one. I love this sort of thing. As I know, a lot of you guys, you're getting into Formula 1, which is really cool. I know Drive to Survive, amazing. I'm like a broken record, aren't I? Sitting up here talking about it every day. Almost every day at this stage, like, Jesus Christ. But guys, I know people are obsessed with racing, and what I find fascinating about the audience these days is that, I suppose, fascinating and not surprising either, is the fact that, look, I used to race for 13 years, so I know the rules of racing inside and out. And I think it's going to be important that a lot of people understand what the difference is between a dirty driver and a clean driver, because so many people, especially with the Hamilton and Verstappen year 2021, if anybody remembers that, my God, I don't know if we'll ever get another racing year like that again. It was just insanity how good it was. There was collisions, there was the drama, there was the... it had everything, and down to the last lap in Abu Dhabi where the championship was decided. Unbelievable. So it's funny because when I watch it, I was watching Verstappen and Hamilton go for it, right? Absolutely go for it together. It was brilliant to watch. And even, let's say now, we're going to go through it now, right? But a lot of people thought Lewis Hamilton was really dirty at Silverstone, right? Oh, he shouldn't have done it, this and that. Well, actually, and by the way, guys, excuse me, I'm not even a Lewis Hamilton fan, and he did nothing wrong that day. So we'll go through it in a second. And even Verstappen in Monza, he didn't do anything wrong. So a lot of people were like, oh, no, Verstappen, Hamilton, dirty bastards. I can't believe they did it. I'm like, calm down here, guys, because there's a difference. And in fairness, like, if I didn't know what I was talking about, there'd be something very goddamn fucking wrong with me here at this stage after 13 years. And it would be like if I was watching UFC. I mean, I'm a fan of UFC. I've done some martial arts, but there's some stuff I wouldn't get. So it's understandable that, you got to be in the mix, really, I suppose, in one way to know what's going on. So we're going to have a look over now. We're going to go through some of the races. We're going to start off with Verstappen Hamilton. We're going to do some split screens here. I think I've looked up YouTube here, and I see so many people who've got YouTube channels. They do a lot of videos with YouTube, and you're like, what the fuck? And apparently you're not allowed to, but you can do it for presenting, apparently. So we're going to start there anyway, guys. We're going to fucking do it. Simple as that. We're going to risk it all today. Risk it all. So what I'm going to do is, bear with me, guys. We're going to start with back in 2021, Verstappen Hamilton, and we're going to look at the Silverstone incident, where on the first lap it was neck and neck. I mean, Hamilton was climbing all over the back of Verstappen. I mean, it was just like breathtaking, heart-stopping. Oh my God, what's going to happen? Jesus fucking Christ. It was incredible, absolutely incredible. And Hamilton went for a move in Cop's corner, and it wouldn't have been full speed with the two of them going into the corner, but it's almost full speed, that corner. In fact, I might just double check that in a while, but it's close enough to full speed, flat out. I think they break a little bit down into 7th and then just power on through flat out. So it's a really quick corner. Now, normally, people say that you don't overtake there. Now, personally, I don't see a problem with Hamilton going for it. So we're going to play some videos, but for this one, we're just going to show you the photo, because I think this definitely shows the difference, and it's important to hone in on the incident itself and where Hamilton's positioned versus Verstappen. So bear with me, guys. I'm just going to split the screen here. Okay, so guys, hopefully you're watching on YouTube here, because you'll be able to understand me correctly now. I'm going to try and do the best job I can explaining on Spotify or Apple if you're listening audio. Okay, so if you want to take a look at this, check out the YouTube version of this. So guys, we can see it here, okay? Here's Cop's corner. Now, they're going in maybe 7th gear, maybe 8th gear, but fucking quick. Now, their tires wouldn't have been warmed up properly, so they wouldn't have been full speed anyway, even if they dropped down a gear into 7th. It would have been close to flat out. Okay, now, you can see that where Hamilton's car's position in the inside. Now we've got Verstappen on the outside. Now, technically speaking, Hamilton's in the inside. He's on the racing line. Now, people can protest about that one. Well, Hamilton had the right of way. Well, Verstappen was technically in the lead. So you can see in the photo here, right? So you can see Verstappen's got about almost a car length. Okay, 3/4 of a car length. Now, in normal racing behavior, let's call it, if this was going to happen, now you've got to remember, guys, right? If you were racing in karts, you'd have an idea that the guy would be up. Like, let's say if you're Verstappen, you'd have an idea that the guy could be alongside you. Now, maybe you wouldn't, because in karting, there's no mirrors. You can't see behind you, right? So, you know, it's a gamble. And, you know, even if you're Hamilton, who's just slightly behind, you know that the guy in front of you doesn't have mirrors, right? This is if this is karting. So you're gonna be conscious of that going into the bend if you're Hamilton, if you're in a kart. You're gonna be like, okay, he mightn't know I'm here, but you'll still stay to the racing line. Now, if I'm Hamilton in this position, in Formula 1, because we're not talking about karts now, Verstappen's got rear view mirrors. He would have seen him coming. Right? And he did. If you remember, he was on the straight, he was weaving, right? Hamilton didn't go anywhere. He stuck his car up the inside, that was it. Verstappen knew he'd be there. Now, if I'm Hamilton, as a racing driver, and I've been in this situation, by the way, hundreds of times. This is nothing new or nothing exceptional here. This is just a standard racing fucking incident, okay? So if I'm Hamilton, yeah, I'm throwing the car up the inside, which he did. Okay, planted in there. Now I know that Verstappen's got a bit of a 3/4 length of a lead. I know he can see me in the mirrors. I'm still thinking when I'm going into the bend, he fucker could cut me off here now, or something could happen. You're still not 100% that the two of you are going to make it out of the corner. Okay here, like, you're just not. Okay, so if you see the way Hamilton's positioned, right? Now, Hamilton is right there. He knows the risk. Now, it was his home Grand Prix. I think for Hamilton, he knew he was on the back foot at this stage for the Grand Prix. He was off pole, second position, right? So he knew he was at a bit of a disadvantage. I think he actually risked everything for this weekend. In other words, he wasn't thinking about the championship. If you were thinking about the championship, he probably wouldn't have been as aggressive on the first lap as he was. Now, then again, you still fucking go for it, right? But the fact that it was his Grand Prix, he said, fuck it, I'm going for it all out. And I respect that, I applaud that too. So he knows there's going to be a bit of a danger here. Now, let's go to Verstappen. Verstappen, on the outside. He goes into the bend, he can see in the rearview mirror, Hamilton's right there now. To be fair to Verstappen, I don't think he would have thought Hamilton would have been that close, or at least he would have expected Hamilton to back off a little bit, or even better, throw the car even onto the inside of the curb to make sure that the two of them don't collide, okay? Because he's still the car behind. Now you can argue, well, he's got the racing line. No, he fucking doesn't really, okay? He doesn't. Technically, Hamilton's on the racing line, he's in the inside, but he's behind. That's the most important part here. He's behind. So, Verstappen going in. Now, if you remember, guys, in fact, if you see the photo here, this is just before Hamilton actually. Now, to be fair to Hamilton, and I'm not even a racing fan of Hamilton's, right? But I'm still going to be fair to the guy here. Hamilton, if you remember in the video, he goes a little wide. In other words, he's turning into the corner, right-hander corner, but just at the last second, he actually puts his car to the left. Now, I genuinely think, and I honestly think, Hamilton's not one of those dirty drivers, to be fair to him. I'll give him that, you know, and I respect that about him. I just think he lost his bit of momentum. He wasn't sure where he's going. He went a little wide, and that's what caused the collision. Now, hey guys, if Hamilton actually did that on purpose, well, so be it. And if he did it on purpose, he did it on fucking purpose. Simple as that, okay? And maybe he did. But I really don't think he did. Hamilton does genuinely seem, like I'm saying, a fair driver. He always tries to avoid collisions with everybody else, even though he'll go for a gap that's half there sometimes. But he tries to do it in an aggressive, safe way. Now, Verstappen didn't have anywhere really to go here. He really didn't. He was committed on the outside on that racing line, and to be fair to Verstappen, he didn't try and weave and hit into Hamilton to knock him off the track. Of course he wouldn't, because Verstappen would have known, because he's on the outside, we could have a fucking collision here and I'm fucked. Okay? Because all it takes is Hamilton's left side of the car, the front end of the car, right? The front left, right, or even his wing, just give him a little tip and bang. Right, even if you're rugby fans, it's kind of like the ankle tap, right? If you remember Peter Stringer, great Munster Irish player, and he was he's a small guy, maybe 5'8", 5'9", but he used to do this little tap, and if he couldn't reach the guy in front of him running away from him, he'd just throw himself on the ground, little ankle tap to just unbalance the guy, and bang, the guy will go down. It's the same type of thing here. So I genuinely think it was a racing incident, even though Christian Horner comes on to the radio afterwards, and he's complaining after the race, excuse me, and he's saying, oh well, he shouldn't have done that. No way, Hamilton, no one overtakes there. Well, he's right. Not many people overtake there, but it's still a fucking corner. Hamilton has got all the right to make a move shooting down that corner. Now, is it a bit of a dodgy move? Yes, it can be. But Hamilton was running out of options here. Excuse me. Because when you're coming out of this corner, cops, you're going into the quick left, right, down the back straight, and Verstappen could have got a bit of a lead out on him then. You see, so Hamilton was running out of options here now. He could have still waited for the rest of the lap, yes, but he just went, fuck it. And I like Hamilton's approach to it too, simply because not many people do it. Verstappen wouldn't have been expecting it. Now, I think at the last second, Verstappen went, holy shit, he's coming up the inside. And, well, then we have it. Verstappen goes off, job done. And, guys, you can hate me for saying that, I don't give a shit. I know racing, okay? And Hamilton, I'm not even a fan of, and I'm still batting for him here on this one. Break it down. It was a racing incident. I don't think Hamilton meant it. Verstappen was caught with his pants down, so to speak, little bit. He didn't have anywhere to go. He didn't expect Hamilton to take that line up the inside first. But then, you got to deal with it quickly, right? You got to adapt quick. So he just got caught off guard. He just got caught off guard a little bit. So, bottom line, racing incident. Now, let's move on to Monza. Now, Monza was a fucking interesting one. Jesus Christ. So, again, we're just going to use a photo for this one, guys. That's a little easier to explain on this one. We're going to go to some videos after this one, though. So, for this one, guys, if you can see on the screen here, you can see Verstappen. So, let me just paint the picture here, what happened. Verstappen comes out of the pit lane. Verstappen comes out of the pit lane. Hamilton overtakes. Hamilton's in the lead now. And then all of a sudden, the two boys, Hamilton stays to the inside going into turn one. A tight chicane, right, left, very tight. So they're coming from 8th gear down to 2nd gear. So they're coming from about 200 mile an hour down to about 30, 40 miles an hour. Okay? So Hamilton stays in the inside. Verstappen goes up the outside. Now, you can definitely say, well, Hamilton definitely had the racing line for this one. However, Verstappen goes up the outside. Now, he's on the outside of a right-hand corner, knowing that there's an instant left-hand chicane coming in next. So therefore, he'll have the racing line for turn 2. Or, well, you suppose you wouldn't really call it turn 2, but we'll go with turn 2, okay? So he's sacrificing turn 1, staying on the outside, and then bang, he's in the inside for the next one. So that's a normal racing move. Absolutely. And Verstappen would have known. Hamilton can see in his rear view mirrors. He knows that. Hamilton knows that. Verstappen knows that. They all know it. But the problem was Hamilton shut the door going into turn 2, the left-hander. Now, was it a bit of a dumbass move? No, I wouldn't say so. I just think Hamilton did not expect Verstappen to go up the outside for the inside for turn 2. So I think Hamilton got caught off guard on that one, definitely. Verstappen, a racing incident. Verstappen came up the inside. I don't think he actually thought Hamilton would have shut the door. And Hamilton did shut the door. Let's make no mistake about it. Hamilton shut the door on him. Because I think he didn't do it deliberately because he knows he could have a fucking accident with him, right? And the two of them are off the track. Hamilton doesn't want to have a DNF. Verstappen doesn't want to have a DNF. And remember, guys, at this stage in Monza, Verstappen was in the lead with the points. So Hamilton couldn't afford to have a fucking DNF. Or, if he's going to have a DNF, you make sure the two of you go off the fucking track. Now, I honestly don't think Hamilton orchestrated this. He needs the fucking points. He needs to finish the race. So him shutting the door on Verstappen was not a deliberate thing. Verstappen coming up the inside, some say that Verstappen did deliberately do it so the two of them get knocked off and then, well, hey, you know what? I've got the championship lead here. Fuck it. One more race. Don't have to worry about. Let's just have a collision. That's a stretch. That's a stretch. Really is. Did he do it on purpose? Maybe. Maybe. But I'm going to put my money on it that he didn't. I think Verstappen actually thought, I'll bully my way in. And to be fair to Verstappen, right? A lot of drivers in the front, right? And it wouldn't be that Hamilton would be scared and go, oh my God, get out of the way. No. Hamilton would have just went, oh fuck, right? And he would want to avoid a collision. So Hamilton would have, in some cases, would have naturally just stepped over to the right, let him through. So technically, let's finish this one up. Technically, Hamilton was in the lead. He had the racing line. And he had the corner, per se. Verstappen went for it. Fuck it. He was setting himself up for turn 2 so he could get the slingshot momentum out of turn 2 and get down that long straight in Monza. So it was just a fucking racing incident. There was no way Hamilton, in my eyes, in my opinion, there's no way Hamilton wanted to have a DNF, a crash, because he had to get the points. And in that scenario, even if, which I don't think he did, even if he wanted Verstappen to crash and he continues, that was a risky move because he's still behind you. You can't exactly see where you're going to hit into his car. So Verstappen, well, he went for it. He went for it. And I think he did think I'll get him now. I'll get him into this bend. Now, he still had plenty to gain if they do have an accident as well. So, another racing incident. That's what I would say, guys. Now, we're going to go to video for this one. Now, this one is like, Jesus. We're still in 2021. Again, so many incidences in 2021. Jeddah. Like, this is just like, fucking hell. This is unbelievable. So let's go from the start, guys, okay?
And Lewis,
so you can see Hamilton and Verstappen. They're down the main straight. Hamilton goes to the outside. Now, here. Right here, Verstappen has got the lead. Technically, he's got the corner. Okay? So let's just move on a small bit. Now, they go off. Okay, now let's get the slow motion. Go back to that. Here we go.
They've gone in side by side. He's gone through the down.
Okay, so right now, Hamilton's going for it up the outside. Totally fine.
The inside line. And he's...
Now, They were almost neck and neck, but now you see Verstappen's got the lead. Let's keep going. Still has the lead, Verstappen. Still has the lead. Okay, now the two of them, as you can see, the two of them go off into the runoff. Now, there was no penalty for this, right? But there was a lot of people complaining about this one. I fucking blew my mind. So again, I think that's why it was important, and I think it's good to go through what this is all about, guys, because there's a lot of confusion with people who are learning about Formula 1 these days, you know, and it's fair enough, you know. And so there was no penalty as of yet. Now, which was ridiculous what happens next. So right now, the two boys are off the track. They're in the same position. However, Verstappen's got the fucking lead because he just had it going into turn 1.
Touch.
Now, let's keep moving on.
Is that Brazil again? Where?
No, I think he was more ahead at that
You can
point.
see, I mean, it's just, it's so obvious.
So let's give the position back
Now,
to Hamilton.
here we go. They're giving the position back to Hamilton. That is absolutely fucking ridiculous. Because, yes, they went a little wide, right? Let's just go back here now. Okay, I'll just bookmark that's 47 seconds. Okay, so let's go back here, all right? Now, excuse me. These two boys are fighting for the championship. I think this was the second last round. Now, let's just go back a tiny little bit more, actually. Okay, now, you can see Verstappen takes the lead again. Now, hey, tough shit, guys. Verstappen did not push Hamilton off. And here's why. Because Verstappen went off himself. Okay? Now, yes, you can have some drivers that can push you off and they'll go off themselves. But this was just a late break by Verstappen to keep the lead. Okay? He just broke a little bit later and he went, fuck it, I'm going to go a little bit wide here and Hamilton's going to come with me. So in a way, it's deliberate, but it wasn't dirty. Okay? It's a tactic. Now, even if he didn't have the tactic for this one, he still decided, fuck it, I'm going to break late, keep the lead, and that's it.
Yeah,
So he didn't push him off.
they touch.
Well, let's move up here now.
Is that Brazil again?
Which, so I was fucking stunned. I was fucking stunned that they gave the position back to Hamilton, which is insane at this
Do that
stage.
strategically.
All right, let's move on.
Give the position back.
So now he's got to get the position back. Here we
Both
go.
are giving it absolutely everything.
Look at
I get
this.
the feeling.
Now, right here, Verstappen is slowing down. Now, it's funny, when this actually did happen, I wasn't sure if Verstappen did brake test him here or not. And I've watched it over and over again. And actually, the more I do watch it, I do think Verstappen did brake test him. I've got to say. He just wanted to clip the little wing, just make things uncomfortable. So let's...
It's
Go
going
on
to
here.
happen again.
Now you can see, look, he's really slowing down. And you can see he's going into the middle of the track here. Right now, if he was just letting him by, he would have just stayed to the right-hand side of the track, or the left. He would have just pulled over to one side, let him through, off you go, fella. But he didn't. He was trying to fuck him up. And you can see the way he's... Let's just go back a tiny little bit, a few seconds. You can see the way he's braking fairly quick.
Both are giving it absolutely everything.
Watch this now.
I get the feeling it's going to happen
Here
again.
we go. He didn't have to slow down that quick. So what? And look at him. He plants the car in the middle of the track. He's hoping Hamilton's gonna slam on the fucking brakes and just hit him a little bit, right?
Oh,
And then we
touched!
see.
And they
And to be fair to Hamilton, he was running out of places to go. Like, Hamilton should have ducked into the left, right? He should have. However, you can see why they had the... Like, watch this again.
feeling it's going to happen
Quick.
again.
Now, Hamilton was a bit asleep at the wheel on that one. Yes. No question. No question he was asleep at the wheel. I don't know why he didn't go in on the left. Now, at the same time, it happened quick. Okay? There was just obviously a little bit of confusion going on. Right? As in, what the fuck is this guy doing? Or still. And then Verstappen said, right, I'll slow it down quick, slow it down. And he hoped that he would just collide into his back. I think so. Of course, I don't know that for 100%, but I'm going to go with that, guys. he was trying to brake test him, and what his motivation and goal was here is to just knock his wing off, so he'd have to come into the pit stop, or into the pit lane to do a pit stop, and then obviously Verstappen fires off into the distance, gets an advantage, he has a big lead then, because a pit stop is roughly about 20 seconds anyway, so that would have really fucked Hamilton up for that one. Let's move on. And you can see there was a bit of contact.
Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton. How much damage on Hamilton's Mercedes?
And I can understand why Toto Wolff got a bit nuts here.
To give the place back to Lewis Hamilton, slowed down on the straight. Hamilton ran into the back of the Red Bull. Just what is going on?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I didn't like it, man. I didn't like it. I really didn't. It was a bit of a cheeky fucking move, I have to say. A cheeky fucking move. It was flirting, really flirting with dirty driving. You hope sometimes as a racing driver the guy goes knocking into you, but that was oh god, it was obvious what he was doing to me, you know, when I look back at it more. And to be fair, guys, even when I watched it at the start, I was like, whoa, what the fuck is this? What the fuck is this? Because I wasn't expecting Verstappen to pull out a move like that, because it was so obvious, right? You're thinking, oh, hang on, there's no way somebody's gonna fucking do that. But then the more you look back, so that was a bit of dirty driving from Verstappen, I gotta say. So the point is here, guys, he almost slammed on the brakes, put the car in the middle of the track, hoping that first Hamilton will just come right up on top of him, hopefully fuck the front wing up, and he'd have to come into the pit lane, or fuck his tyre up, or just fuck the car up in general. So that was his goal there, definitely. Okay, let's move it on. We've got Senna and Prost. Now, before I continue on this one, this now is definitely dirty driving. Okay? This is dirty driving. And I hate to say it, because this is my boy, Ayrton Senna, the greatest of all time. No one has ever come close to this guy, ever. Seriously, guys, he's that fucking good. Was that fucking good. Now, we're going to explain. Here's the picture. Senna and Prost, championship decider, Suzuka, Japan. Prost is in the lead. Senna has to overtake Prost to win the championship. They come into the chicane. So here we go. Senna's behind in second. You can see Prost here, right in the front. Okay, it's where my mouse is. Senna's got to overtake him. Now, by the way, sorry guys, I'm jumping ahead of myself. This isn't the part that it's dirty yet, okay? This is the lead up to the dirtiness. Sorry. So here we go. Senna goes for the inside. Now, let's see what happens. Okay, so it was bad. It was bad, guys. So if we go back, where are they bringing me on this one? So look, you can see Senna, right? Let's get back at time. Senna goes for a gap. Now, he's on the runoff area here. Okay? But most people use that anyway. I wouldn't worry about that. That was just a, fuck it, I'm using this extra bit of tarmac. You can complain about it. You can go, hey, what the fuck is he doing? He's getting an unfair advantage. He's still on the track, as we see, look. He's going into the last corner here, the chicane. And, hairpin. And look at him. He's in the inside. He's on the racing track. So, you couldn't really bitch and moan about him using the extra bit of runoff. So, he's in the racing line. He's a tiny bit behind. But what happens is, Prost just runs straight into him. Prost needed Senna to actually have a collision. He needed Senna to have a collision. Now, if I'm just going to try and show. So he dominated the first half of the race. He got a bit desperate. Right, now here we go. Let's try and get an outside perspective. Here we go. Now, Senna comes. Now you can see Prost is middle to 3/4 in the middle of the track, if you get me. You can see there's a lot of runoff here, okay? Prost is closing the gap here on Senna. Right, now it's still okay. But now you can see, and it's hard to see from this angle, but right here, if Prost was turning into that corner, his normal racing line, he wouldn't have been in the inside that quick and that tight. That's really keeping the track or the corner really tight for you. He turned in fucking early. Simple as that to hit Senna. Hopefully they'd have a collision.
Oh my goodness,
and then we see what happens.
This is what we were fearing might happen during the race.
And you can see Prost doesn't give a fuck. Doesn't give a fuck. Because that's it. Prost is champion. Now, Senna gets back on the track. Senna gets back on the track. Wins the fucking race. Technically he's champion. And guess what happens? They say to him, oh, well actually no, you use the extra bit of tarmac, so let me show you here now, guys. And it was a dirty fucking political call here on this one. Now, let's go back here. Senna and Prost, they have the collision. Senna keeps going because he needs to win the race, right? To win the championship. Now, you can see here, look, this is the key. Senna is using the extra bit of tarmac area here, right? So if you can see here where my mouse is, this is the track. This is the right-hander corner. This is the extra runoff here. So in other words, because what they're doing is they're going into 130R, right? Which is the corner beforehand, which is a left-hander flat out at about 190. They're braking from about 190 down to second fucking gear, and they're going through that hairpin, a chicane at fucking 30 miles an hour, 40 miles an hour maybe, okay? So it's braking hard. So the problem is, you need a bit of runoff here, just in case something happens with your brakes or something, you overshoot the braking point and you run wide. So that's where this is just a safety element, this extra bit of runoff. So Senna's in the runoff here. Marshals help him, as normal they would, and he moves on and off he goes. He comes back to win the race, and Prost, the sneaky little fucker, complains to the fucking marshals and clerk of the course, and he says, oh, he used the runoff to keep going. So technically what they're saying is he had to reverse on the track, which is fucking suicide. Okay, imagine now, guys, reversing on the track, back onto the track instead of using the runoff area, which is, again, suicide. It's fucking shocking. So reversing onto the track where cars are coming up at 190 miles an hour and you're reversing onto the fucking track? Are you joking me? That's insanity, right? So that's why the extra bit of tarmac is there, runoff area, and he needed to use that. And every other driver on the planet, trust me, would have used that. Now, that was the year before, and guess what happens? Senna gets disqualified, loses the championship, and he's gutted, right? I mean, it was a sneaky fucking move from Alain Prost. Like, there's no way on this earth I would have been happy. And believe me, guys, I've been in this scenario where I've won races, I've won championships, and I've won races, and I've lost races. Or even better, I've lost races because there was no way I wanted to win under a really shitty circumstance. Like, there's been a few of those, you know, and I was happy to lose. Because when I'm in the fucking car, I want to make sure that the guy I'm racing against is on his best performance, his best day. I'm on my best day, and I want a fucking showdown. I want to kick his ass, all of us being the best. Because believe you me, you go to sleep that night, if you're thinking, was he at his best? Did I really win that? That shit can haunt you for the rest of your life. And I'm dead serious about that. So I can't understand why Alain Prost can sleep at night even to this day with that sneaky fucking move. Crazy, guys. So let's fast forward 1 year later. It's Senna and Prost again down for the championship in Suzuka. Senna went, fuck this shit. Okay, let's watch. They line up.
Senna asked for the pole position to passing.
And what happened was, Senna gets pole position. Prost is off pole in second. And normally, the pole position in Suzuka is on the racing line. Now, in this scenario, if you're seeing the video here, you can see where Prost here, he's in the Ferrari. Senna's in the inside. Now, the thing is, the pole position should be on this side here, where Prost is. And Prost should be in the inside, where Senna is. Now, why does that matter? That matters because there's the racing line. So in other words, when the cars are in practice, qualifying race, they're all coming down the main straight and they're staying where Prost is here on the racing line. Now, when the racing line gets laid down with rubber, the track is less dirty. Okay? And of course, the problem here is when they're starting off from literally a standstill, if you're on the racing line, you'll technically have more grip. So therefore, you won't be slipping and sliding starting from a standing start. Now that was the problem, right? And to be fair to Senna, he should have been on the racing line. But these bastards, they turned it around because they didn't want Senna winning. They literally went, nope, sorry, which goes beyond everything. There's no reason to have the inside line as the fucking pole position area. It doesn't make sense. Okay? It doesn't make sense for Suzuka. It does not make any fucking sense. They screwed him. And he was gutted. So you can see now they're lining up. Let's go to the start. And here we go. Green flag. Now you can see Prost gets a good rate, Prost gets a great start. Why? Because he's on the racing fucking line.
Prost takes the lead. It's happened. Alain Prost has taken the advantage. Senna is trying to go through on the inside, and it's...
Now, there we go. There was the dirty move. Now, there's a part of me a little bit disappointed in Ayrton Senna. There's a part of me saying to him, well, you know what? Fuck it. They screwed him the year before. Absolutely screwed him the year before. They robbed him of a championship, which it was Senna's. He deservedly won that fucking championship. Senna the next year, they screw him again on the start-finish line just to give Prost an advantage. And Senna, you can see here, guys, look, he's going for a gap inside. There's fuck all of a gap. This was deliberate. Senna even came out with it. He went, yep. I don't give a shit. If I'm in the inside, I'm just going to plant it up. The two of us can have a fucking crash, and I win the championship. Now, you can argue that he shouldn't have done that. He's as bad as Prost. Well, they were trying to fuck him again for this race. Again for a second year in a row. They were trying to knock the championship away from him. The guy was running out of options here. Now, I'm not saying it was a good thing to do. I'm not. Because it was disappointing to see the greatest of all time winning in that situation. I can understand, though, where he was coming from. I really can. You know, would I have done it? I don't know. I genuinely don't know. I wouldn't have felt good about it afterwards because, hey, shit, man. Would I have won the championship? Would I? You know, would it have caused me sleepless nights? And I'll just play the rest of this here. And you can see, bang, they're off the track. Done. Ayrton Senna, world champion. That was it. Problem solved for him. And that was it. So guys, that was it. It was very, very... Yeah, it was horrendous to watch. It really was. But anyway, guys, yeah. I'll get too deep in this. So guys, look, that was a deliberate move by Senna. That was a dirty move. No question about it. You can justify it. Excuse me. You can justify it. You can defend it. Whatever you want to do. But I'm just showing you the difference between racing incidents. So what did we find here today? What did we learn? You can see Hamilton and Verstappen in closing this podcast today. Hamilton, Verstappen and Silverstone, racing incident. Hamilton, Verstappen in Monza, racing incident. Senna, Prost, year one, when Senna closed the door on him, Prost closed the door on him, that was quite dirty. Okay? That was deliberate because Prost needed Senna to lose and not finish the race. Senna-Prost the year later. Senna did a dirty move. So I hope it shows you the difference between racing incident and deliberate. So we showed you 2 racing incidences, 2 deliberates. Well, maybe you can decide for yourselves. What do you think? Guys, well, we'll be back again for more Beginner's Guide to Formula 1 and Racing. Hopefully you enjoyed it, guys. Thanks for listening. Ta-ra!